Secretary of the Arbor Board of Directors, Jeff Reese.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight. Not only supporting live music, but also supporting the art, an organization that I'm absolutely passionate about. For those of you that may have never been to the art, because I realize there's some of you in here, this is the type of music somewhat that we present over 300 nights a year. It's an amazing organization. If you live in the area and you haven't been there, I encourage you to stop by sometime. It's really, really great. What you're not going to see in the next 2 minutes is me leading calisthenics. There won't be any audience participation. I won't be singing any ditties, strumming a guitar, because I'm not that talented. But there are some people I need to thank tonight. And would like to thank, first of all, our year-round supporters. Some of them have already been mentioned, but first and foremost, our presenting sponsor and bank, the Bank of Ann Arbor. Secondly, our host of this evening and next is the University of Michigan and Hill Auditorium. Thirdly, our year-round ticketing venue, or vendor, Michigan Union Ticket Office. Two different entities that are part of our production organization, Aerial Sound, and the Ann Arbor Theatrical Stage Employees, Local 395, also known as IEC. Again, I thank everybody for coming tonight. I hope that many of you will be back here tomorrow night. I hope you're enjoying the show, and thanks again for coming out. To mention the ARC members and the ARC volunteers. Most of the people that you have experienced in here tonight are volunteers. It's the people out in the lobby area. There's scores of people backstage. So it's a wonderful group of people. And now I'd like to bring you back on the stage. Thank you.
True story. I don't think you can call yourself a real American until you've been behind the wheel of a recreational vehicle. Many summers ago, my wife and I decided to take our, at the time, very young family on a trip from Michigan to Cooperstown, New York to see the Baseball Hall of Fame. Our mode of transportation was going to be a recreational vehicle that we were going to rent from Lloyd's Travel Land. Well, the motto was, travel with Lloyd. I knew Lloyd. Wouldn't want to go anywhere with him, but that's another story. Lloyd showed me around the lot. We settled on a 28-foot Jayco. He very proudly escorted me into this palace on wheels and proceeded to show me how to work the generator and the hot water and how to slide out, slid out, sleep six comfortably, everything you'd ever want to know about a recreational vehicle. And then he tossed me the keys and said, "Good luck, Chief." And I was about a mile down the road when I realized that nobody told me how to drive this damn thing. Now, driving a recreational vehicle is a little bit like driving this building. So the next time you're out on the interstate, you see a senior citizen behind the wheel of a recreational vehicle, give him room. Pretty good chance he is in a white knuckle situation. I know I will. Now, despite my wife's Upper Peninsula upbringing, she is not a camper. She filled every nook and cranny of that 28-foot Jayco with enough snacks to feed the state of Ohio. Not to mention mittens and gloves and parkas and blankets. I said, honey, it's July. Down the road we went, turned left at Toledo, and after about 7 hours of very tense driving, my wife informed me that we were going to be staying at a Best Western. I said, honey, but the 28-foot Jayco sleeps 6 comfortably, and then I got the look, and those of you who were married know what the look is. 2 exits later, I found myself pulling off and into the parking lot of a Best Western, where I spent most of my evening looking out one of 2 adjoining windows down into the parking lot at my 28-foot Jayco, full of snacks. The next morning, we got up bright and early. It was at this point that I realized that a 28-foot Jayco full of snacks is going to get about 1.8 miles to the gallon, so I pulled into a truck stop in Erie, Pennsylvania, got out and started to gas up the vehicle when I heard a voice behind me say, excuse me, sir, but are you the guy that was in the movie with all them ducks? I said, that's right. Jeff Bridges, right? That's right. Mind if I get your autograph, Mr. Bridges? No problem. So I signed an autograph to a toothless truck driver who likes movies about ducks. Best wishes, Jeff Bridges. Topped off my tank, jumped back into my 28-foot Jayco, pulled out of that truck stop, started merging up on the highway when my son tapped me on the shoulder and said, Dad, where's Mom? I said, son, do not screw with me at this moment. I'm driving a building. And then my daughter, whom I trust, said, no, Dad, she's not here. Now, those of you who are married have some idea of just how much trouble I was in. This goes way beyond, oops, I forgot. And then my son said, Dad, just call her on her cell phone. I said, well, there you go, thinking again. So I dialed up her number, and we all listened to her cell phone ring in the seat next to us. Meanwhile, back in the truck stop, my wife is coming out of the food mart with 2 bags of snacks. Sees the 28-foot Jayco merging up onto the highway, and then she does something that to this day we cannot understand. She starts chasing us. Failing to catch us, she turns around and instantly becomes the lunatic woman with 2 bags of snacks. For 15 minutes, she tried to commandeer a ride from every Pennsylvanian she sees. They run from her like the plague. Finally, she sees a young man getting into a Ford Taurus. She jumps into his passenger seat, looks him right between the eyes, and says, follow that Jayco. They pull out of that truck stop, out merging up onto the highway. She's sobbing, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. Young man looks at her, reaches across her lap, opens the glove compartment, and pulls out an audio tape of some priest analyzing the Lord's Prayer. That's right, a theology major on his way back to Princeton. How lucky was she? Handed her the tape and said, here, he will help you. Down the road they go. Unfortunately, the 28-foot Jayco has found an exit doubling back, yes, like ships passing in the night. Next thing I know, I'm back at the truck stop. I get out and start to look for where one might In my case, I start in the snack department. Then I do something that to this day we cannot understand. I call home. I don't know, thought she might be there, I guess. Our house sitter answered. She said, she just called. She's at the rest area, 30 miles up the road. Here's the number of the payphone. I called the payphone. She answered on 1/16 of a ring before she could utter a word. I said, do me a favor, just stay there. 30 miles later, the 28-foot Jayco pulls into that truck stop pulls into that rest area, and I watch this young theology major escort my wife across the parking lot. And he is looking at me with disdain and an air of arrogance that will serve him well in the priesthood. He literally hands me my wife and said, you really should hang on to this one. Oh, shut up. Now, upon entering the 28-foot Jayco, the kids have been instructed that no matter what my wife says or does, they are not to laugh. So for 35 minutes, we listened to her